What if the happiest place in New Orleans turned into a nightmare? Welcome to Six Flags New Orleans, a once thriving amusement park now swallowed by time and tragedy. After Hurricane Katrina struck in 2005, the park was abandoned, but not entirely empty. Rumors of ghostly figures, chilling cold spots, and eerie noises have turned this forgotten funland into one of the most haunted places in America. Join me as we explore the chilling tale of a park where joy and sorrow collided and discover the dark secrets that still linger in the shadows. Are you brave enough to listen? In the heart of New Orleans, where joy once danced through the air, stands the decaying remains of Six Flags. Opened in 2000, the park buzzed with excitement and laughter. Roller coasters screamed overhead, children chased each other through candy-filled streets, and parents basked in the glow of their children's joy. For 5 years, it was a place of endless fun, a place where memories were made. But in August of 2005, a storm of unimaginable fury swept across the Gulf Coast, forever silencing those joyful echoes. Hurricane Katrina. The hurricane struck with a force unlike anything the region had ever seen. Entire neighborhoods were submerged, lives were forever changed, and Six Flags New Orleans, once vibrant and alive, was left submerged beneath the weight of Katrina's rage. The park never reopened. It was abandoned, forgotten, at least by the living. Now, nearly 2 decades later, it has become something else, something darker. Urban explorers, thrill seekers, and ghost hunters have ventured into its rusted gates, drawn by the rumors that Six Flags isn't truly empty. These trespassers leave shaken, their nerves rattled, their eyes haunted by the unsettling things they've seen and heard. The gates to the park remain closed, but for those who dare to enter, an oppressive atmosphere lingers, as if the very air is weighed down by an unseen force. At first, it's just a feeling, a faint chill despite the southern heat, a whisper of something wrong. They talk about the uneasy sensation of being watched, the hairs on the back of their necks standing straight up. And then, the noises begin. At night, under the light of a crescent moon, eerie sounds drift through the park. The once cheerful melodies of carnival tunes warp into distant, discordant echoes, faint but unmistakable. The roller coasters that haven't run in nearly 20 years sometimes creak. The wind playing tricks on the metal, or something else nudging them. There are whispers, too, not just in the air, but on the tongues of those who have ventured too deep. They tell stories of shadows that move when no one's there, of fleeting glimpses of figures standing in the corners of their vision, only to vanish when they look directly at them. Some claim to have heard the laughter of children, hollow and faint, drifting on the wind, accompanied by the rhythmic squeak of a swing that sways with no one sitting in it. But there is more than just whispers in the dark. One group of urban explorers, armed with flashlights and cameras, wandered too far into the park. As they approached what was once the main square, the feeling of dread intensified. The temperature dropped noticeably, breath visible on the humid summer night. They reported hearing something faint, like crying, almost imperceptible over the rustling of the leaves and the distant sound of their own footsteps. A sob coming from the direction of the bumper cars. They thought it might be a prank, but curiosity got the better of them. Their flashlights flickered as they drew closer to the ride, the air growing colder with every step. One of them swore they saw movement from inside the cars. A shadow, something low to the ground, slipping between the vehicles. They heard a low groaning sound, like metal straining under pressure, followed by a series of soft thuds. When they panned the light towards the source, they saw it. The figure of a small girl, her face obscured by her long wet hair, standing motionless by the ticket booth. They froze. The girl slowly lifted her head, revealing empty eyes, her face pale and waterlogged, like she had been pulled from a riverbed. Before they could move, she opened her mouth, and a soundless scream seemed to tear through the air. Their flashlights went dead. The group ran, abandoning their equipment, stumbling through the dark toward the exit, the distant creak of the Ferris wheel echoing behind them. By the time they reached the gate, none of them dared to look back. None of them spoke of what they'd seen until much later, when they realized others had similar encounters. Other explorers who had been touched by the lingering spirits of the park. The stories spread. Those who lived in New Orleans started whispering about a curse, not just the tragic past of the park, but something darker, something brought forth by the storm itself. They say that the waters that flooded Six Flags didn't just take away life. They brought something with them, something restless. The land beneath the park was disturbed, and now it's as if the spirits of the dead, both old and new, are tethered to this place, drawn to the sorrow and loss Katrina left behind. Locals tell tales of the park at night, the glint of carnival lights that should be long extinguished, flickering just out of sight, and the distant sound of an old carousel's haunting music playing on the wind. They warn to stay far away from the old gates after dark, for those who enter sometimes don't return. And for those that do, they come back changed, haunted by what they've seen, by the sensation of something, someone, following them. Some say it's the children, whose laughter still echoes in the rusted halls of the arcade, calling out for the fun they once had. Others believe it's something more malevolent, something that feeds on the grief and despair Katrina left in its wake. But one thing is certain. Six Flags New Orleans is no longer just an abandoned amusement park. It is a place where joy has turned to sorrow, where laughter has been replaced with silence, and where the past refuses to rest. And if you listen closely, as the wind howls through the broken rides and crumbling attractions, you might just hear the faint echoes of the forgotten souls, calling you to join them in their eternal vigil. So, will you dare to enter? Or will you, like the others, be content with the stories? Content to let the ghosts of Six Flags remain undisturbed? We'd love to hear from you. Have you ever explored an abandoned place like Six Flags New Orleans? Did you experience anything unsettling or eerie? Share your stories and thoughts in the comments below. They could help uncover more mysteries surrounding haunted locations like this one. If you enjoyed this dive into the haunting remnants of Six Flags and want more spine-chilling stories, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support lets us keep exploring and sharing tales from the dark corners of forgotten places. Thank you for joining us on this haunting journey. We can't wait to uncover more ghostly secrets with you soon.